All right, so we're going to be looking at apps and extensions in Google Chrome today. Uh, the best place to start for looking for anything that you might need to use or want to help with materials in the classroom is going to be through the Chrome Web Store. And I've got a little cheat link up here I can click on to help me out there. But, if you needed to just search for it, first time looking for it, you just type in that address there and then click there. It'll pull it up. You can see this nice little interface here. It's got all sorts of fun stuff. Uh, there is so much, though, that it might become overwhelming. You might have a hard time finding specific things. That's why today we're going to be also be pointing out a few things that will be helpful. So the first one that we're going to look at is Screencastify. Click on that. Comes up as the first option there for me because I knew exactly what I was looking for. That certainly helps. So hopefully we can give you some hints throughout this process that you'll think, oh, that would be a fun thing to use. And then you can open it up and you can look at it. You can see its review score, all that good jazz, some brief explanations. You can also look at reviews, if you're concerned about some things. But then ultimately, once you've decided, yep, this is what I want, click on Add to Chrome. It'll let you know what kind of stuff it's going to do. Um, things of this nature on the Chrome Web Store are by the vast majority going to be completely safe. So you can say, go ahead and add the extension. You'll see the little download procedure down there. And then when it's done, you'll see the little thing pop up here in the top right hand corner. And you'll show you the thing that it's done downloading now. So we'll go and close that since we see it up now. And I'll just click on it now, have it bring it up for me. Oh, sign in with Google, absolutely. Makes it nice and easy for us. And it's going to ask for camera and microphone, all that good jazz. Go ahead and allow it. Oh, hooray, we're all good to go now. This is the free version of it. As you can see from down here when I scroll down, that there is an unlimited version, but for what most we have been trying to use it for, it has been completely adequate with what you start with. So now if I click the little button up here now we got a bunch of wonderful little display options.
Brandon,
Yeah, go ahead.
hey, so right now, Screencastify is free for teachers. The code is COVID-19. It, yeah, I upgraded mine. It's free. But he's right. Most of the stuff you're doing will probably do, because that version, it's 5 minutes tops.
Yep.
But if you want to do like a longer lesson, because with Screencastify, you could do some whiteboard stuff with it, you can throw in that code and it's free until the end of June at this moment.
So since I've just shown you all how to navigate in there to find that specific application, you owe it to yourself to have that handy tool available, even if you don't use it right away, to go ahead and take advantage of that, because who knows when that offer might expire. So back to what I was talking about here. We got the app. I've clicked on it up here to activate it, and then it's looking for what I want to do. So I want to record the desktop, what I'm currently looking at. Do I want to use the microphone or not? I'm going to turn that off because I don't want it to record that right now. And then when I hit record, okay, your entire screen, hit share, and now it is after the countdown, it is recording everything I'm doing here. So it's going to be seeing what the mouse cursor is doing. Then if I click over here, it'll follow that, and then if I hit the little, where's the pause button again? There it is. And hit stop. There we go.
And now not sharing your desktop either.
Oh.
Disappeared with that.
It killed the sharing when I stopped the recording. That's good to know. Luckily, most of the time we don't have to worry about that, but I'll turn it back on now. There we go. So after I hit the stop, it did that, and then it came with the message. You can show me around. It'll give you some nice little quick pointers. You can trim your video. So if you started it and then didn't start doing anything for several seconds, you could cut that out. You can change the title of the video. You guys get the idea, right? All the typical stuff that, pretty much every application we've gone over, those kind of options, the ways that you can share the materials either through your classroom or just publish it to YouTube and then use a link through there.
And this app is really cool because you can make your own GIFs.
There you go.
That's a shout out for this app. I don't know. I really like this app because you can just make little short things or long things, whatever you need to do right now.
Yeah, especially with the added duration on it, you can literally make whatever you need. So now if I were to come down here and hit the play button, you'll see exactly what I was talking about before, right? You see my cursor moving around. Eventually I'll click on the tab up there. There you go. And if I had the microphone turned on, it would be obnoxious right now. But you could record instructions as well. You could even turn your webcam on and they could see you while you're presenting it. Since, as I'm sure most are aware here, having that webcam on also drastically increases engagement because they can see you and it's like they're interacting with you face to face. All right, so that gives us a good idea on the Screencastify thing. I think, let's see, what other fun stuff that I have planned for us there. So we added it to Chrome. Some other extensions. So let's go back to the Chrome web store. And let's just click on this sucker, get us back to the front. And Alex, I'm sure you're like, oh, all of these look very familiar. Let's see, which one were we using here? Oh, it should be the one I already have installed. Stations? Well, that didn't quite work the way it did last time. I wonder if it's Alexa Space. Don't see it. I swear I thought this worked yesterday. Well, let's do this. I'm jumping around a little bit. So if that had worked the way I intended it to, when I pulled up the application on the store there, you would have seen that I had already installed that particular extension. Since that failed, let me skip ahead. So what I just did, let me go over it again so you guys can see, since I'm just clicking like a maniac. So when you're on your tab here in Google, and you can do this anywhere, if you want to get to where all of the extensions and applications are installed to and that you're using in Google, you'll go to your settings area down here. You just click on that. And then over here on the left-hand side, there's an extension section. So you'll click on that, and that'll pull up this tab over here. Under here, you can see all of the wonderful tools that I've installed, far more than we have been seeing so far, but let's see if we can find the one tab. There it is. Okay, so there it is. Now if I hit details, it should, where's the, there we go. Well, maybe that's why I couldn't find it, is that it's not there right now, which could indicate that they're updating it or something like that. So if you come across this particular type of issue, you're trying to get stuff set up, you're getting some things installed, and then all of a sudden you're like, I can't find it. Well, it could very well be that they're doing some maintenance or some other work on it. So don't fret, just put it aside for now and don't worry about it. Luckily in my case here, since I already had the one tab installed, I can just turn it on. So this is a really neat function within this Google Tools system, because you can download any number of different applications and extensions. And then if later on you're like, okay, I don't need that right now, it's taking up space and I don't want it there anymore, you can just come in here to your extensions section and just turn it off. So I click that little button, it's off. It's not going to do anything. I can't interact with it. As far as I can tell when I'm looking at all my normal websites, it's gone. But if I click on it again, you'll see up here, I now have the little one tab section. Now, I'm sharp enough. I'm not going to click on that right now because what it would do is it would close this meeting and I would just disappear from existence. So we won't do that here. But if I click on that, it creates just one single tab showing you all of the websites that you had open. And that can be really good because if you have a lot of things going on, it can start to be cumbersome to your system. All right, that takes care of that one. Let's take a look at what the other ones were. We had the ad block. This one I still have running. Originally, I was planning on turning it off before I started the presentation, but it's just too useful. I'm sure every single one of us can agree our time is far too valuable to watch yet another YouTube ad. And thankfully, this one application takes care of all of it. You don't have to worry about any of those things that come up anymore because it'll just block them all for you. And now let's look at WebPaint and Loom. Let's go
And
back to my
Brandon,
attention.
the YouTube ad blocker is good for teachers because sometimes those ads are not ads we want kids to watch. Does that make sense? So
Very, very good point.
that's where I find that one really handy. It's more for, yeah, of course we don't want to waste time, but we also don't need to see like Halloween 5, that ad to come up in an elementary classroom, if that makes any sense.
Or advertisements for alcohol, you name it. I mean, there's all kinds
Yes.
of interesting things that slip through on YouTube because it's a very popular advertisement section that everybody likes to take advantage of these days. So yes, you're absolutely
So
correct.
that's
Go
the
ahead.
biggest thing for us. We don't want to see those ads. We don't want to share those ads with our kids.
Yep, you're absolutely correct. Even more valuable than your time is the safety and security for the kids. All right, so let's see. Loom was one of them. I'm going to go ahead and turn that one on too. And then I think was WebPaint the other one? Yeah. Go back in there. Turn that one on. There we go. So now you'll see up top here, I've got two new icons that were added. Loom. This one's similar to Screencastify. I think the biggest difference though is that when you record a video through Loom, and Alex, please correct me at any point if I'm wrong, it doesn't save it to a place where it's like in your possession. It's out there on the web. Of course, that's not a problem for security or anything of that nature, because you'll only be able to share it with anyone you want to share it with. But it can disappear into the black hole that is, the data network in this world. So that's something to keep in mind. And there are ways to preserve it, but in my opinion, especially with Alex pointing out the Screencastify has the unlimited option, you would just be better off just sticking to that one. But it's good to have some options because if we pull Loom up real quick, now that I've downplayed it so harshly, well, I can't record here, so that's not going to help us much. Let's see if I go to, how about here we go. And then it'll pull up a nice little thing. Oh, no. No, I didn't deny it access. Okay, well, we're not going to worry about doing an example on that one right now. But it basically allows the same thing. Oh, there, it's working fine. I don't know why it was saying that. Okay, but you can even see it's picking up the microphone audio, what I'm talking right now. And you can select, a full desktop, current tab, and then just start recording. So it would do essentially exactly the same thing that I did before with Screencastify. It's good to have some alternatives though, because Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, but again, this one, you can record it for any duration. It's not as limited as the base version of Screencastify.
You're correct, Brandon. So Loom is better because it's longer videos. Loom is more, you only get to have so many videos a month. Does that
There
make
you go.
sense? But Loom is also doing something free for teachers. You have to prove to them that you're using it with a school. So I did send that up for free too, because I'm like, anything that's free, I'm gonna sign up and see.
Why
But
not?
you have to just send them an email. You give them your school email, and then they just set it up on their site. And I think theirs is until July, if I remember correctly. And I just to the chat sent out the code for Screencastify. I'm confusing it with another code, but there's the one for Screencastify if you want it. And then Loom, you just got to email them and prove to them that you're a teacher.
So there you go. Some excellent options for you there. So we'll move past that one there. Okay, and then you guys already know this one. You've seen it, I don't know, once or twice, or maybe honestly every presentation that Hal has done. You know, we got these cool little tools. You can, you know, get your stuff circled and boxed in so clearly show where you want people to be looking at. It's just a really convenient tool because if you're doing a presentation on anything and you want students' attention to be focused on one particular thing, this is something that can help. You can even use it during your presentation. So while you're coming up with the lesson and you're using all those recordings off of Screencastify or Loom, you could use some of these tools to potentially help with some of those, you know, pointing out specific items.
I use that web paint extension almost every day.
How do I make it go away, Hal? I thought I just clicked on the thing last time, but it didn't. Doesn't like it.
You click on, it's the bottom right icon on the toolbar. Yeah, that bottom right one.
This one. There we go. Look, I'm learning things at the same time. This is fantastic. All right. So that was a good overview of just some basic extensions that you can use within the Chrome interface here. There was one thing I wanted to point out. I meant to talk about it a little earlier, but so far everything that we have been looking at and that I've been recommending, these are all actually extensions, which means that you can use them with Chrome. It doesn't even have to be on a Chromebook. You could use a Windows computer as well and still get essentially exactly the same functionality. There is some exceptions to that, but I don't think for the most part that we're going to encounter that too much. There are applications that run within Google that require it to be basically on a Chrome operating system. Like a good example of that, this is something that here in the IT department we have to use the Chromebook recovery utility. Of course, for the teachers, you're not going to care about that kind of stuff, so it's not going to matter. Everything else, docs, slides, sheets, Google Keep, text, even like you don't need the calculator because there'll be some calculator somewhere on your computer. Those can all be accessed through Google anyway. So I don't think you're ever going to have any concerns or problems with it, but it's good to be aware that if you're using something other than a Chromebook and if it's an application, it may not work. So just something to keep in mind. If you have a problem, you can let us know. We can verify it for you.
I believe that the Chrome Web Store might even be smart enough to figure out that you're not on the Chrome OS and it just won't display apps.
You're probably right. That would make sense because they're very efficient with the way they're managing everything else. So that would make sense too. And if you're worried about coming in here and accidentally damaging something or doing something you shouldn't do, don't worry, because the only two things that you'd ever want to mess with is the iBoss Cloud and the Chrome Remote Desktop. And good news, guys, we can't do anything to those. So you don't have to worry about doing any damage either getting in here.
That's because those are two applications that I push out and I do a required install for all Chrome devices inside the Google admin console. So you can't actually, you can't disable them or remove them.
Yeah. Just wanted to give everybody some peace of mind so they know if they go in there and they, oh no, I shouldn't have done that. No, you're going to be safe. All right, now one of the last ones here I wanted to go over here in this section is the classroom screen. It was a really neat little item that we came across just randomly today, and it's simple enough that I figured we could include it in our little presentation today. So I'm going to go to a new tab, and I'm going to click this classroom screen button. There we go. Are you ready? Yeah, I'm ready. And what this does is it creates a really slick interface that you can use basically as a whiteboard application. because it will take over your screen, especially if you press the F11 key, and then it's now full screen mode. And then you've got all this great stuff down here. You can even change the background. Going so far as animated ones as well. It's got a lot of great things that we can do there. You might recognize this little blue moon background as the one that I'm using on the presentation slide that we started on. And then you've got like some randomizers, dice, random name, which means you could create a list of your students. So and then how it got randomly selected. See, that way you could have a preset list that you have set aside that you could just use that for to randomly select people. You know, that way you don't have to ask anybody to raise their hand. You can just click the little thing, and then they can't even get mad at you because, you know, the computer did it. And then you got a lot of other stuff here, QR codes. So if they have like some interface to use to scan a QR code, usually a smartphone, they could you could set up a website ahead of time, and not a website, just a website that you know they want to use, right, for something in the education material. And then you could just put the QR code up on the screen. It's not going to work because I don't, well, actually it did work. Oh, because it's using the current address, that's right. And then you can just have them scan that code with their device, and then it'll take them straight to the location. Infinitely superior to having them punch in, you know, an address manually or having to go somewhere to click on it. If all they have to do is look at your screen and they can go straight to where you want them to go, it's very convenient. You got your basic drawing type tools, nothing particularly special there. Text box tool. Oh, and if you click on it multiple times, it'll keep making multiples of them. So if you wanted two random name lists, you could do that. These are some of the more interesting things that I thought they're good for. It may not work for all classroom environments, but like right now, right, you could have this, we don't want anybody talking right now. This is silence. I'm talking right now. And then you got, you know, you can whisper about something. I don't know when that would be appropriate because normally that would just get me yelled at in classroom. And then you have the ask your neighbor. So, you know, starting some collaborative learning, and then, you know, full on working together. So basically you've done your part in the front of the classroom and now you want them to work on the project together. So it's just good little visual indicators that help them know what they should be doing right now. I mean, I'll admit sometimes when I was in class, I wasn't paying the greatest, strictest attention. And then if I could just look up and say, oh, I should be working with the rest of the class right now, would have saved the teacher some trouble. There's a traffic light, you know, if you want them to stop an activity, maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of just little, really cute, nifty things that are very functional that are great to have on the whiteboard. You got a clock, like the one you saw earlier, and even a calendar. All right. Well, that
The
is.
thing
Go
the
ahead.
thing I like about this site is that to use it, you just go to classroomscreen.com. There's nothing to install, and you don't even have to create an account. You can just go to that page and launch it, and you have a quick whiteboard that you can use. So I was pretty impressed with this site. You can create an account so that you can save screens. So if there's like a more complicated setup that you've done and you just want to save it so that you can come back to it quickly, you do have to create an account for that. But otherwise, it doesn't require you to even create an account. So it was pretty impressive little site we found.
Yeah, and I think it's that non-intrusive nature of it that you can just fire it up and bring it up whenever you want. You don't have to download or install anything. That really helps make it a very interesting tool to want to include in the lineup, which is why, again, I felt it'd be really good to bring it up today. All right. Well, that's
That's a really cool app, guys. Thanks for sharing it. And
yeah,
Hal, I
actually,
wanted to tell you you're right because I'm on my MacBook And I tried to download Classroom Screen on my MacBook, but Chrome Store won't let me. So you're right about that.
Mhm.
And there you go. There's a link in the chat if anybody wants to go check that out. All right. So now let's take a look here. Managing the apps and extensions. So that was the thing I was trying not to get into initially, going in there, managing where they are, and then what you can do to manage them. So let me just go over it again though a little bit. Close that out. So close that too. Got all these tabs open now. All right. So again, we're going to go into the settings. And then on the left-hand side, you'll find the extension section. Click on that. It pulls them up for us. So when you're in here and you're wanting to manage it, maybe you decide, you know what, I don't need the emoji keyboard anymore. You just hit remove. It's gone. It's completely removed. You don't have to worry about anything, and it's just gone. You know, alternatively though, if I've for some reason decided I didn't want to ad block anymore, you can just click on that. It's gone. It won't do anything anymore. Click it back on. It's doing its job again. It's very slick. It requires minimal amounts of effort to manage it all. So it's great. All right. So that was just kind of a recap on what I had talked about earlier. Now, how apps impact your Google Drive. This is kind of an important one. So let's see. First things first, let's go get the old Google Drive pulled up here. Mine's going to look like chaos. That's okay, though. There we go. Okay. So if an app creates something that it needs to save somewhere, then it's going to go to your Google Drive, especially since in this case with Screencastify, you can see it right up top there. I allowed it to do so when I was agreeing to some of those permissions. So then when I created that little video earlier, it needed to go somewhere, right? So it's actually out there on the Google Drive. So if I open the Screencastify folder, I'll see that little quick video that I did when we first started. And I can see the little video. See, it pulls up for me. Plays it just like it did before. You get the idea. But it just makes it really quick and easy to reference. So you know that if you have something that's being saved, some sort of content that you're creating, and then you save it to the Google Drive, all you need to do is go into your Google Drive and it's right there. Which of course, again, is fantastic because if you did the work on your school computer and then went home and you needed to do some more work there, you could easily just pull up your Google Drive and the material is still right there. And I think I tested this. Everybody feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that like when I'm adding these extensions to Chrome, what'll actually happen is if I have a second device that I log into, which I'm sure you guys aren't surprised I do, it actually includes those on the other device. So when I move back and forth between computers, it's all right there for me, ready to go. I don't need to reinstall anything. I don't need to change anything. It's all exactly the same way. Good. Nobody chimed in to correct me, so that's a great sign.
You were right.
All right. So that covers all the fun stuff that I was going to go over with today.